Right, ladies and gentlemen, me dear Okatechi Kwame Afrifa Mensa. Happy 98.9 FM na me dimi juma enei. Se wako show so now nyama KSM show. Wadaroma unko baby. KSM show is the best and numero uno.
We're back. And every now and then, I hang out with people who are doing things now. And I think it's a pleasure to my heart when they tell me, oh, when I was a small boy, I was watching you. The whole idea is, a small boy, no, papa, no. Now they've come back and they are being hosted by Papano. Master, welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much. In fact, now, me too, I am Papano, but you are the Organo.
Me Organo.
We are Organo. I've conferred on you officially the title Organo.
So I'm Organo.
You are the Organo.
Okay, folks, so that is my official title for this show. I am the Organo.
No size.
But that's great, man. I don't know what to start with you, man. You write?
I do.
I get some weekly
golden wisdom nuggets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So I've done that for just about 8 years now. It all started when I returned with a group of people from Cuba. I spent a year in Cuba. I guess we'll talk about that later. But I do this for about 7 years. I've done it consistently.
Wow.
Within the last 6, 7, 8 months, I've not been as consistent because life happens. Education, work, family, taking care of relations and all of that. So all of that has not allowed me to flow like I usually do. This thing used to come daily. In fact, I recall it was daily. Even when I traveled, I would find wherever at an airport, get a connection, send, or sometimes I would have a website for it.
Nice.
So I would tell my web guy to be posting. I would put some there in advance. But in terms of my writing, so I write inspirational stuff.
Have you published some stuff, right?
Yes. So I have 2 publications, I think, one from 2015 and the other from, I think, 2017, 2018. Both of them reflections, one for a period of 6 months and the other one for a period of a year. But I have many more. Like I said, I've been writing this for 8 years.
How did you get into writing?
I think I've always written.
Oh, really?
I've always loved language, and I like to play with language.
I'm going to get to you and language in a bit.
Yes,
because I was amazed. Well, you speak French, Spanish,
yes,
some
Portuguese, a little,
German,
very little German.
Massa.
I have my eins in German. Actually.
But we'll get to that. We're getting to that.
Yes.
But in the meantime, so you
writing and so here's the thing. I grew up on books, and I really credit my father. My late father.
I was going to ask you.
I bear his name. I am Junior, basically. Of course, I don't carry that, but he just gave me that foundation that any and every child would love. I am told that by age 3 thereabouts, if you were looking for me, you couldn't find me. I was hiding in some corner with a book, and they would let me have my peace. They wouldn't bother
to
me.
read.
Yes, reading.
Wow.
They would give me newspapers. I was reading. I would watch the news on television, and they would encourage me to tell them what was happening. So it was that kind of background. I grew up on books and I had fun. For today's generation looks at phones and PlayStations.
Yeah.
These are not necessarily bad. But I think we're also losing certain things. There's something in books. Even reading a book, a soft copy of a book, is a different experience from reading a hard copy of a book, inhaling, smelling it, getting a feel of
turning the page,
and sometimes being devious enough to, fold it somewhere when you shouldn't really be doing that, affecting the spine of the book. But that basically was the background I was given. So I grew up loving books. I grew up loving to study. If you say, oh, you want to read law, you want to have an MBA, you want to do this, you want to do that. But I think it's just in my...
You're studying.
Yes, so I just completed my law program with the University of Ghana. There's a little bit I have to work on with that. I'm still working on my MBA, and we'll see what comes up. I just might do something in international relations because I have interest in that area as well. Some say, maybe you should get your PhD at some point, but it's not something that I'm looking at in the short term. Maybe in the long term, but right now, Charlie, Papa no niti ane ya. Papa dabre. So that's basically it.
Wow. But more people also know you for hosting the Executive Breakfast Show.
Not just that, Authors Haven as well, because I've carried my love of books onto radio. So when I started working with Class FM, the likes of Robert Israel, Sedem Ofori, they had put together something called Authors Haven. The name was there, the concept was there for a book show, but what to do with the show had not really been. So I came, and when I got into the fray on November 14, 2015, the first day I actually hosted that show. The first day that show ran on Class 91.3 FM, a Saturday. We had a good one. I basically conceptualized it, pushed it through, and I'm pleased to say that, it's said that, unfortunately, when you want to hide something, put it in a book. For the African man, when you want to hide something from the black man, put it in the book. I don't think it's a fair statement. It is disparaging, it is demeaning, it is denigrating, but to some extent it is true, to some extent. And I've always felt that, having had the benefit of growing up on books and knowing what you can get from books, mind you, there are good books and there are bad books, so you need to know what to go for, but having the experience of what I have had and the benefits of it, I feel it was something that I could, transcend, let other people also tap into. And so I, put together a number of things, and the show is what it is today. It's won 2 awards. It has grown massively, huge following, and I just pray that in coming years it will only grow and get better.
Let me ask you this quick one. Now, your dad brought you up with books, reading, like you said, you go and hide somewhere and read, and that was a culture growing up. Now that you are grown, when you have kids, are you going to insist on them going to the hard copy books, or are you going to be understanding that, well, this is their generation, they like more of the soft?
It's a new world, it's a changing world. Even constitutions change because people change. So what I'm going to do, what I think I will do is, I'm not going to be so hard on them as in, you must do hard copy books. I'm going to, with me, how it started was, they didn't tell me read. Rather, they would read, in fact, they would start by reading a story to you. That's the way to start a child on books.
You're the B, eh?
Well, I'm hardcore like that. But yes, I'm a bit, I have a bit of, you see, I'm the best of both worlds.
Okay.
So wherever you send us, Continental, we'll do it for you. But
okay, so the way they will read to you.
Exactly. So when you start off kids like that, reading to them, then maybe every night or every now and then you're reading to them, they develop that interest, and over time they want to read. So then it is not as though you were telling them to read, you would have unconsciously led them to, reading, that liking for reading. And I think that is what I would do. I wouldn't stress hardcore books. I mean, things are changing in our world. COVID-19, for example, has taught us that a lot of things must change, from brick and mortar, from hard this to soft that, and virtual everything. So I'm thinking I would give them options. It changes nothing if you want to do soft
copy. The whole thing is to read.
To read. But of course,
how you read it.
that is not a problem. But I think over time, it's also good to have some semblance of, hard things. Like if you had a library, for example, of books, you can't, so you would have to go to the hard copies. I think it's something that, but I think with children, I would let them have quite a bit of malleability with what they want to do. But I think our world is changing so quickly that you must also have an influence, a good core influence as a parent. And that I wouldn't, move away from. In fact, with regard to languages, I always tell people that if I had my way, everyone in Ghana would speak at least 2 languages, international languages, English and French. At least have some knowledge of it. If you look at our sub-region, a lot of sometimes core jobs that come up in ECOWAS and the rest, you realize that Ghanaians, crack Ghanaians, they've done the Ivy League institutions and all of that, they miss out because they lack that element of French. Pet languages here. And I think if we added a bit of that, it would help. The Francophones in our sub-region, a lot of them, in fact, as part of their curricula, they read Spanish, English.
Oh, they read
so a lot of them have, some of them, some even do German. Some have, a lot of them have some grounding in English. In fact, my former parish, St. Francis Xavier in Kotobabi, they have an entire Francophone community. And all of these people are coming into the country for different reasons, but mostly to pick up English. How are we picking up other languages? It's always an advantage. And I always share this. I went to the mall once. I've forgotten what pizza joint it was, but I saw a gentleman, and he had this Keros Galval. So he is in a polo neck shirt, white, with Keros Galval. Keros Galval, by the way, worked on Dubai, the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. And I know they're Brazilian and all of that. So because I know some Portuguese, I went with him. Hey, hola, como vai? I can't tell you his reaction.
Yeah.
He just, this was someone who I think his pizza was being delayed, so he was already not in the best of moods and all of that. Immediately, the expression on his face just changed. And we had a conversation, and later on, I was just wondering, wow, the power of language.
Yeah.
When you speak someone else's language, it just changes
things.
Does. So that's one thing that I would say we're not too good at here in Ghana. We don't like to learn new languages, and we don't like to travel, and it's not exactly the best of things.
You don't like traveling?
No, Ghanaians don't like travel. Ghanaians don't. Well, that's the other end of it. But even intra-Ghana travel.
Oh, you mean yes.
Even intra-Ghana travel.
We don't.
And you see, travel experience does something for your mind. It gives you exposure. It makes you learn certain things. I think in some ways we're still. I don't want to use the word backward, but we're still lagging behind because we're not that exposed.
We don't have Thank you for the word.
We're not that exposed.
Yeah, and exposure really counts.
It counts.
In your mindset, the way you think, the way you approach things.
Exactly.
You can tell somebody who's exposed to.
Exactly. Someone who's just.
Yeah, and somebody. Yeah. Okay. Quick joke. This taxi driver took this Indian guy, and as soon as they sat in the Indian guy sat in the car, he told the people at the rank, his fellow drivers, "Manya Indian nibi obiko Canada." To the passenger, wherever they went to. Right. So as soon as they got there, then the Indian guy said, "Pacho, who become me saying?"
You can imagine the look on his face.
Who come here?
Who come here? For us,
the language, when you hit somebody with their language, it really does something to them.
It does something to them. People appreciate the language.
Yeah.
And so when you speak it, especially when they know you are not one of them, so to speak, the mere effort, it opens doors for you. And it's done for me many, many times in life. Many times in life.
How did you get into radio?
Now that's a very interesting bit. You're a tricky one. You have to go there. It was merely coincidental. I hadn't done anything in journalism or attended any journalism school. I didn't even want to do radio. People would I read in church, I'm a lector, so people would listen to me and, oh, you have a lovely voice. You articulate well and all of that. But honestly, I read political science and Spanish, a combined major for my undergraduate studies. I was thinking more along the lines of international relations, and I've done a bit of that. I've worked with the foreign mission, the Brazilian embassy. I've traveled, worked with different entities, but I never really thought I would end up in radio. I just felt it was this closed space, and I'm quite trouble, that kind of thing. I just felt it's okay listening to them, watching them on television and all of that. Then sometime in 2015, I was in transition, so to speak, from work. Now, since graduating from the University of Ghana till now, I've practically been out of work for only about 3 months. It's been back-to-back from national service, lecturing, teaching Spanish, I should say, and working at a different entity till now. It's just been back-to-back work. But at a point in time, I'd left this for sake of confidential purposes. I wouldn't like to mention the name of the outfit, but it's a Brazilian company that is into the processing of cashew. They're one of the biggest in the world. I worked with them here in Ghana and also in Brazil, in a place called Mossoró. It's in northeastern Brazil. So I got back to Ghana and felt the conditions of work were not exactly what I wanted. Certain things that had been promised were not, being made available to facilitate the work. So I decided, okay, it's time to up and leave. And I did. I feel that when you get to the crossroads and you feel something is not working for you, you should be bold enough to say, okay, I've come this far, no farther. I've done my bit. It's time to move on. So that's exactly what I did. I took a leap of faith. So for about 2 months, and this is probably the longest time I've been out of work, I was at home doing my own things, writing, conjuring stuff, if you like. Then I get a call. So there was a discussion on one of our group pages, Spanish pages from the University of Ghana way back then. And that is why I always say, don't burn bridges and build your network, because the people you're dealing with today, you never know when you meet them tomorrow.
When the paths will cross again.
So there's a lady, I don't have a permission to put her name out there, but we call her Cheska, so I'll just put Cheska out there. Cheska, back in school, you know, some things, I have a flair for languages. So she would come to me, hey, Spanish, I need your help in this, I need your help in that. And I did it for a colleague, without any intent, without any strings attached. Fast forward a few years after school, she gets in touch with me and says, there's this new radio station starting. And Ben, it totally skipped my mind. You're perfect for their morning show.
Really?
And I listened to her. Literally, I was like,
Really?
I was feigning interest because I wasn't really interested. This was radio. I wasn't excited about radio. I just felt it was another one of those things. I have my own path I want to beat. But then again, that is it. Man proposes, God disposes. I read a quote recently that says, man comes up with plans and God laughs.
I saw that.
Man plans and God laughs. I think that was what happened then. I was planning and God was like, this gentleman, he doesn't know. So to cut a long story short, I took her up. She kept nagging. Well, not nagging, but she kept at me that, look,
but that's
go.
Because somebody was telling me that if you want to know your talent, sometimes just ask people, what do you think I can be good at? It's very, very interesting that this person just decided that you can do the breakfast show.
Right. And I was surprised. It hit me. But after a while, I just felt, okay, why not give it a shot? So I went to the radio station, Class FM. I met the marketing manager at the time, Dominic Akakpo, affable, lovely personality. He welcomed me. I had taken a copy of one of my books that I had written. So I went, I merely spoke for about a minute and he was blown away. I think he loved the voice, he loved the entire package, the articulation and everything. He took a look at my book, he loved it. He took me to the HR, Nanajwa, at the time. She was also, you could say she was in love, not with the person, but I met Sedem Ufori, who was head of programs at the time, Robert Israel, who also was with the team, and head of production. And that was basically it. One thing led to another, and radio started for me. I was on the morning show, not as host, but doing news review, something we called Morning Glory, morning inspirational tidbits. Then I started what I used to send you some time back. Let's Speak English. A 5-minute, 6-minute, bite-sized bit to, you know, get people learning more about grammar, about words and their meanings, about improper pronunciation. And in this country, oh my word, the words we butcher.
Let's listen right there, because that's fun. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to start with the words we butcher. Stick around. We'll be right back.
KSM Show.
This creek is 055 039 5007.